What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Tyler S. Clark, and I want to welcome you to another edition of a Dream Firm Leader interview. Introducing to you the queen of white glove compliance services for IT professionals, a corporate refugee who has undergone a full recovery, a woman who's outworked the chaos of Upwork to win our fabled Dream Firm Award, adding over $100,000 billed and collected to her firm in less than 365 days. And she's on track to do even better than that this calendar year. Absolutely crazy. A person you can literally hear the smile in her voice. It is humbling to call her a client and an honor to consider her a friend. Let me waste not a moment longer and introduce to you the Dream Firm leader of Southbridge Accounting, Yulia Dora. Thank you so much for joining us today, Yulia. And if I may be so brave, Yules, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for that introduction. And I'm very excited to share my story.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you again as a client. What you do has literally left me and many other people in awe. And I'd love to unpack a little bit about that. But before we get into the tremendous success that you've accomplished, I'd like to go back to a little bit of the beginning here and just tell us really kind of what got you started in accounting, and then really what was that big defining moment that said, you know what, I'm going to ultimately decide to open up my own doors and start my own firm.
I went to school for finance, actually. My dream was to be in finance. I've always wanted to be in investment finance. Mergers and acquisitions was my goal that I was really, dreaming to get into. But because I was graduating in 2008, when the economy was shot, there were no job opportunities. And I decided to stay in school for one more year and get my accounting degree, because a lot of my stuff overlapped with the finance bachelor's that I already had. And so I just had it in there, but I never used it until probably a few years later, when I realized that my corporate job isn't really supporting me the way that I wanted it. And I went into tax with H&R Block as a side hustle. And that was the beginning of my kind of accounting journey. I started in tax. I started doing tax prep, and I don't know, like 12, 15, I don't know how long, ages ago. It's all just a blur at this point, a horrible blur. But I started with them, and just, and kind of over the years, I always had multiple side hustles. So I would have my corporate career in investment finance. I made it. I was working at my dream job on my dream team. I was working crazy amounts of hours, but I still wasn't earning enough. And so I was always forced to do these side hustle accounting jobs. What really made me fully switch is the fact that I was actually laid off from my dream job after 3 months after becoming a mom. So I lost my entire, not only, the dream, but I lost my financial support. I lost my paycheck, and I lost my everything. All for what? All for those hours that I've put in corporate, those crazy hours where I was married to my computer and not my child or my husband. I basically lost it all overnight because someone made a decision. And so, my mom was like, well, I told you should have been in accounting, because accounting is routine. There's no drama there. There's no crazy hours there. It's always predictable. It's just, debits and credits. It's just all boring. And so I was like, maybe she's right. Maybe I should make this a full-time job. And I did. And so I just started working with CPA companies in, staff accountant, senior account positions, just to kind of get my foot back in the door. So I basically switched careers as a brand new parent, kind of overnight.
Okay. I mean, this is amazing. So in other words, and amazing in the sense of the journey that you've gone through. You have the the background in the finance space. You also have the background from a tax preparation space. And long story short, mom is always right. Shout out to Kate, my mom, right? Like, you're always right. Sorry I've ever disagreed with you. Point is that's a really humbling story. And I can't imagine what that must have felt like with a mouth to feed, all the hopes and dreams tied up in that sort of corporate environment, to only now go, oh my, I don't really have anything to show for that. And I know that's not entirely true. You've got the experience, maybe some of the connections, and I get that, but that must have been extremely disheartening. And did you have at least a side practice at that time, or was it really just straight to zero on that income side?
Straight to zero. It was such a rude awakening because I overnight lost everything, and I was the breadwinner of the family. So to come home and go, I don't have a job anymore, and I don't know how we're going to pay our bills. But even what's worse is I went from earning that, what I thought was a big paycheck, and investment finance, you were supposed to make good money. I was still in debt. I still had my student loans. I still had my car loans. It wasn't an environment where I felt like I could just walk away from a job just because, I became a parent, right? Where I couldn't just really extend my break or whatever. So it was very, very difficult.
Well, that certainly gives you ample motivation to now look at, hey, how can I be in better control of my entire situation? You've got people that are depending on you. Obviously, you're very self-reliant yourself, a true go-getter. So let's talk a little bit now about moving into the experience of opening up Southbridge. What was that like? What were some of the early learning lessons when you really got that entrepreneurial hat firmly on your head? Give us just a little context of kind of that beginning.
Yeah, my mindset at the time was, so I went into accounting, and I went into a couple of other positions in accounting, and I realized that it's the same thing over and over again. The corporate environment is just not for me. The performance reviews, you're always being told you're not good enough, you're not earning enough. You've still got that ceiling where you just can't jump above what somebody else says you can earn. And so for me, I was like, okay, I need to really get serious about this. And so I started on so I opened up my company, and I started looking for, basically studying the subject. How do you do this? And I stumbled upon a different coaching program that was basically selling the dream, saying that, you don't have to be a CPA. You don't have to be an accountant at all. You don't have to know anything about accounting at all. You can just open up, register an LLC, say that you're a bookkeeper or an accountant, and just make money and just, become a millionaire overnight, essentially. I was like, okay, cool. That's great. I want that. Yes. Buy. I maxed out my credit card, the very last of what was in there. And I was like, yes, I'm going to I'm going to do this. And I started going through the program, and I did not do this. So I was just, kind of back to square one, going, okay, this isn't working. What else can I do? But I just couldn't bear the fact that, or the idea of going back and really making my living and my earning and my life about working for someone else in any type of a corporate environment.
So that's a very eye-opening experience. And again, that's a tough thing for someone to go through, the maxing of the credit cards, buying into the dream, and then getting into a course or a program and having it really not live up to the front end expectations. And to still have the mental fortitude and strength to say, you know what, even if this one thing, maybe there are always some good things to take away from any educational product, in my honest opinion. But even if it didn't live up to the hype and the standards, I'm still going to push forward. I'm still going to forge and find my own way. And I'd like to talk a little bit about your client acquisition journey and just transfer over to that, because yes, there's the mindset. Yes, there's buying into the belief. Yes, there's the fall from grace from the corporate finance opportunity, and now saying, what am I going to do? And you buy in and it doesn't live up. But you still found a way to push through that. And you use a platform that, quite frankly, a lot of people don't really hold in a really high regard, in a really good light. And of course, we'll talk later about how you've transitioned away from that platform using a combination of our techniques and strategies. But tell us a little bit about what drove you to that, and why your experience with it has been so radically different than a lot of other people's experiences with it. And I'll let you reveal the platform, of course.
Yes. So the platform that Tyler is referring to is Upwork. And what led me to that is, yes, I was in that coaching program, but I realized that the lead generation techniques that were described in that program did not work for me, because you literally had to be unemployed in order to be able to produce the leads. Additionally, you had to be a very confident and a savvy accountant to be able to do that. And here I am still in my employee mindset, just give me something to do. You can't really go and lead generate. And so I started, but I was in the mindset where there's no way forward. There's no way forward for me other than to success. I cannot let this at all. I can't drown. I don't have the option. I have an infant. I cannot drown. And so that put the fire under me to start researching. And so a lot of people in that Facebook group were also kind of in the same position. We're like, I have a full-time job. I can't be going out there looking for leads the way that you're suggesting. And so people were sharing all of these. Well, have you tried Bark, which is another platform to generate leads? Have you tried Upwork? And everybody was like, ew, I hate it. I hate them both. Bark is draining your bank account, which is true. They drained mine further. I tried that, paid $2 additional $1,000 and got nowhere. I was like, okay, cross it off my list. But then someone in that group on that comment said, guys, just try Upwork. It works. And so I went on that platform and I was like, okay, so I signed up and I start looking for jobs. Brand new, no reviews, no prior work history on the platform. And I started applying, and I'm applying with the rate that I think I deserve, which is $85 an hour as a baby bookkeeper. Yes, I'm gonna get it. Needless to say, I did not get it. So I was kind of like hot and cold with Upwork for a while. And then I had another event where my financial situation got really bad. It was just kept deteriorating further and further. And I realized, I just got really mad at myself. I was like, this person somehow figured it out, right? I started researching other Upwork accountant profiles, right? When you go to their profiles, you can always see how much they've earned. And I'm reading the numbers and I'm going, this person earned $30,000. This person earned $80,000. This other person ate 300. And I'm like, how are these people doing it? And so I went and I studied their profiles. I read through them. I read on what they wrote and how they position themselves. And then I realized, you know what? Honestly, why did I think that I could just log on to a platform and just be drowning in leads? I need to be going out there and actually, proactively looking for them. We always say that in order to find a full-time job, like looking for a full-time job is a full-time job. Why did I think that Upwork is any different? And so I approached it as if I'm looking for a corporate job, right? With a formal resume, with a formal cover letter, with a polished profile. I am using polished professional language. Here are my credentials. You can talk to these references. And I just kept applying at a much lower rate. If you look at my profile, my rate was $22 when I started. Okay. And so, but I realized that I need to get the 5-star reviews. I need to start building some form of kind of proof that I am good and I am trustworthy. And if it meant that I am doing some free jobs and cheap jobs just to get those 5-star reviews, then great. It's going to get my foot in the door. And it did.
And that to me is such an important lesson for everyone that's listening to this, which is twofold. One, success leaves clues, right? The idea that we're going to jump onto any platform, fill in the blank, Facebook, Instagram, Upwork, it doesn't matter. And just make up what we think should be on there, as opposed to go and look at who is similar to me that is getting the result that I want, and how closely can I mirror what they have going on to increase the chances of success, right? That's the definition, in my opinion, of working smarter and not harder. You could invest 20, 40, 50 times the amount of time and get nothing. Whereas if you just invest a small fraction of that time to thinking a little bit differently on the front end, it radically changes where you are on the back end. And the second thing there that I just think is such an important takeaway is when you are when you are starting out, I really don't, and this isn't, I don't think, again, it's like you started out and you did maybe what you thought was right or what you were advised was a good idea or you thought you were worth. But really, there's only one opinion that matters the most, and it's the market. And the market can't form an opinion about you unless there are other mutual opinions that have already been developed, potentially at a lower rate, right? Like I've worked with people off of Upwork and I've looked at some of their former rates and I'm like, oh, whoa, they were half as expensive. But I'm like, but they also now have all this experience and all this social proof, and I trust them more. So I'm willing to pay more. And there's nothing wrong with taking that same exact path. If you're trying to scrape out a place for your business somewhere on the internet, like Upwork, please follow that advice. Like I can't recommend it highly enough, and treat it like a full-time job. Give it effort, give it attention, keep applying, keep following up, do a little bit more than the other person who might be a little bit more successful. And because they don't have the same amount of time you do, you got to leverage that resource the right way. And again, I think that just it shows the character you have to have been able to get to the success that you have right now. So I want to just jump back. Well, this isn't really jump back. It's actually coming up right up on the precipice of deciding to work with us. Because you said Upwork is hot and cold. And I think anyone who is unaware of this, Upwork's got some pretty strict terms and conditions. They're really Upwork's clients. They're not really your clients. You're just sort of facilitating on Upwork's clients. So that's a bit of a sticky situation. And I don't think it gives you the sense of control that you really were looking for in entrepreneurship. So bring us to that moment where, what was life like before working with us? And what was that moment that said, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot despite my lackluster experience with another program?
Yeah, the fact that Upwork is very restrictive, I just realized that I always knew that, I couldn't really fully, grow and scale the way that I want to scale and really control and own my clients and my work unless I had a way out. So for the time being, when I was starting out, it was great, but I knew that there was going to come a day and time where Upwork and I will butt heads, because these are my clients. This is my work and my contract, and Upwork will be saying, nah, you signed this, terms of service agreement, and they're our clients for at least 2.5 years if they stay with you that long. Additionally, Upwork is very strict with the way they rate you. They've got this weird secret algorithm, right, that rates you, and unless you're 100% satisfaction, you are not getting to that 100% success rate. Additionally, like the length of contracts, if you've got some things open. Anyway, there's some nuances where I thought this is again getting a little too restrictive. And so one of my clients, which I've met on Upwork, who is still my client, their CFO and I, we were just chit-chatting on our morning call, and I was like, hey, how are you lead generating? Like, how else are you growing your business? Because you're a contractor, I'm a freelancer. Like, what do you do? And he said, I've heard about this cool cat, Tyler. And he literally said, cool cat. And he's like, I know about his father, but, he's got some really great free resources that you can check out. And he's like, he's got this coaching program, but he's not really, ready to commit to it. But, there's some really nice lead generation techniques and ideas and kind of business structuring ideas that he's picking up on this free course. And so I looked you up. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And somehow I must have entered my information somewhere where it said book a call or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I want to hear about this program. Sure. Like if you're promising, what is your promise? I want to hear your sales pitch. And, I had one of your sales reps call me, And what really got me is the fact that there would be one-on-one monthly coaching calls with just me and Tyler, with just me and you, where you can hear to what my current, chaos situation is, to what my real struggle is, just, unique to me. And you can help me figure out how to proceed. And I was kind of like, well, this is kind of weird, but this is definitely not anything that anyone else is offering out there. And the fact that there's this one-on-one communication, in addition to group calls, where I get to hear all these other professionals struggle through some, similar situations, great. And so I tried it, and I've been hooked ever since.
Well, that was super cool. I've never been called a cool cat before in my life, but I will have to get the name of that individual and send them something fun, because even if they're not a client, just the fact that they were willing to speak highly of us means a lot to me, and has obviously led to a wonderful relationship with you. So that's there's a lot of interesting things there as well, which is, again, to me, it's about similar to your experience with Upwork. It's the same thing that we do, and the same thing we want our clients to do is someone will potentially reference you. And when they reference you, what do you think they're going to do? Right? Boop, I'm going to take a quick look and see what's going on here. And what's really fascinating about this is that it's not that hard. Mm-mm. If anything, it's both simple and easy to shine really well online. And, oh yeah, you got the fancy plant wall background, but like, look at how cool Yule's looks right now. Like, right. Like, taking a little bit of time, just be like, how am I going to look? How's this going to pop? How does it look when someone Googles me? These are all important things that we just put a little bit of time to. And then the odds that someone wants to work with you, book that call, even if it's a referral, right? Referrals don't just decide, oh, you spoke well, I'm going to go and just talk to you. They're going to still do some bit of research. And if that's just positively in your direction, man, it has tremendous, tremendous impact. And that's I appreciate you taking some time to kind of share that journey. But let's talk a little bit about when you got on the inside, because I think that's usually a big jump for a lot of people. It's like, okay, yeah, it sounds so great on the outside, but what was that getting started process like for you? What did you really enjoy in that very early relationship when we first started working together?
I really enjoyed the fact that my story was heard, and that you adjusted your coaching to kind of mirror my path, right? To keep me on this path. I said, look, my lead generation strategy is all Upwork right now. I'm weird. I don't fit into your kind of your plan, right? And I'm kind of scared to let go of it, because that's where majority of my money is coming from right now. That's where my business lives. And you're like, okay, great. That's great. Let's keep it that way. But what can we do? And what can you do with Upwork, right? Use it as a way to build your brand, use as a way to get your kind of reviews, right? And all of that. You worked with me to fit my unique situation into the program and make it applicable to my situation, right? Which pieces. And I remember when during our very first coaching calls, I was telling you that I'm having this major capacity issue, right? Where I already had all these contracts and I just couldn't keep up with them. And you said, Jules, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about anything. Just fast forward to employee acquisition. You already kind of are familiar, and the rest of it. You particularly need to fast forward. And it was like week 1 or 2 or something like that into the training. I was like, oh my gosh, what a relief. I don't need to sit there and learn what I already kind of feel like I know, because I have a problem that needs solving right now. And that problem does not involve going through 2 weeks of training before I get to my solution. And that made me feel like you heard me, and you really, customized your service to me, which solved my problem at the time.
I appreciate you just sharing that, because I find that that's one of the things I really love about what we do is that everyone's problems, while they are similar, they are happening at different times. And if you're going through a problem and that's the top priority and you can't grow, and the idea that we'd spend more time on improving your online image or getting you more leads or working on your sales skills, and it's like, but I'm capped. I need help on that. It's like, no, you got to go step by step. It's like, no. It's like, you've got to jump here and solve this problem, because you can always come back, right? You can always circle back around and be able to readdress this other issue that will come up, right? Because it's a balancing act. You've got capacity, now you got to fill it back up, and that's kind of the precipice. The very careful balancing act. I'll use a shorter word to not make myself sound stupid, but that's awesome. And let's talk a little bit about how this has changed your life, because there's a snippet, and I think this might be one of the coolest snippets from a group coaching call that I've had, right? We get wins that humble us every week. But there was one set of wins that you shared, and again, it's on our homepage of our website. You guys can check it out. That really just was like, it makes me almost bring tears to my eyes just thinking about it, and it certainly did at the time as well. So, talk a little bit about how this has changed your life, and let's not even worry about necessarily too much of the financial aspect, which we'll cover in a minute. But there was something you shared about your mother. And if you could just like reiterate that, as well as anything else in terms of how it's changed how you approach your life, that would mean the world to me and a lot of other people.
Are you referring to the story where I said that my mom approves of you now?
Well, mom's always right. So I'm going to go ahead and keep rocking that phrase right now, but go mom. And yeah, I mean, you referenced a house and a car, that was just like humbling.
Yeah. So I've been in your program for a year and a half, right? I think if I did my math right, I mean, I'm not always right. Let's be real. I need a calculator still. But yeah, 1.5 years is how long I've been in this program. And so I left corporate in July of 2020. That's where I cut my ties with corporate. And I said, you're fired, right? But at the time I was in very, very dire situation. Like, guys, I was losing my house, I was losing my car, I was losing everything. And so fast forward to a year and a half later, I have built my brand new home, 2-story dream house. I've paid off my car, but most importantly, I've been able to create this world that I had no way of creating had I not really gotten into this program and followed the training and the teaching and given myself to basically your ideas. And this is how it's to be. I am literally sitting in my beautiful office simply because I listened to Tyler, right? And that to me is incredible. I pinch myself every time I'm in here because I remember where I came from. I came from a little space that I was losing, right? I was on the verge of losing that 1-bedroom, condo, that 1-bedroom apartment. And now I am a single mom, mind you. I went through divorce in that time frame as well. And I'm 100% parent, and I'm a business owner, and I built a new house and gotten my dream. So you can only imagine how great I'm feeling right now, because wow, that I know for sure that wouldn't have been possible without the help that I've received from this program and from Tyler and from the group that, of amazing professionals that are sharing their experiences.
There's a quote I read recently, which is, you bring the fire and I'll provide the framework. And I just want to say that again, a lot of people can look at art, look at information, and walk away with completely different understandings and appreciation of it. But you've come in and you've really owned it. And you certainly had all the reasons in the world to want to change how things are operating and ultimately the direction that your life is heading. And this is something I say somewhat, I don't say it frequently enough, but for everyone that's listening to this and saying, not me, not possible. that was 18 months. Okay. And when I say your dream firm is closer than you think, you really have no idea how important a powerful decision is to surround yourself with people who see the greatness in you, who know that you deserve better. And then all of a sudden, not only do you start to see the greatness in yourself, so do your prospects, so do the bad clients that ultimately aren't really that bad. We just haven't been communicating the way we need to so that they can see how awesome we are. And then that radically shifts so many things. But I just want to say that's amazing. I love your office and super cool.
I
Don't
turned
pinch
around my
yourself
desk
too
just
hard.
for this call.
Well, that's amazing. So this is a question I love to ask, especially for people who've been with us for a longer period of time, because we offer quite a bit, just like you guys offer a lot. And sometimes it's so hard to understand all of the different things that we offer, right? From the way that we manage and implement software, we have our own software, from the way that we handle our coaching, to the community, to the courses, to the one-on-one access. There's a lot. But if you really had to just identify what you really like the most about working with us, what do you feel that is?
I'm really enjoying the group calls and the support that we get every single week. And it's not like a Facebook Live, throw a question at me and you don't know who's asking it, you don't know where they come from. It's an actual conversation between a group of 20, 15, 20, 30, I don't know how many people join the call, but it's always a large number of professionals who are way ahead of me than in their careers. They have maybe sold their prior businesses and they're starting a new one again. And to be in the same room on these calls with these super experienced people who are willing to share, they're not hogging this information. They're not going, I'm not going to tell you because I don't want you to succeed. Everyone is sharing in the group. Everyone wants each other to succeed. Everyone is so helpful. And the fact that we have that environment is all because you've set it up that way, right? Where people are not, hiding their secrets. They're sharing them. Hey, why don't you just try doing this? Because the leader is saying, hey, I'm here to share. That's what we're all here to do, which is Tyler. And the one-on-one calls where, I can share my situation and you can tell me, Yulia, like, stop it. Like, this is what you need to do. Just focus, because I'm a shiny bullet person, right? Like, what just but this right over here looks more fun. Do I really need to hire another person? It's not fun anymore. So that's just the environment that we're all in. Honestly, I feel like I don't even need to even necessarily go through the volume of material that is at my fingertips, because I get to hear about it every single week through all of these amazing people who are sharing their experience. And I go, oh my gosh, yep, I'm taking notes right here. What was that app? What was that agency? What do I do? Oh, can we like hop on a call, you and I, Mr. CPA, Miss CPA, and we're building and sharing information, which I have never seen in any other coaching environment. And I'm not just referring to the one I had prior to this with accounting. I used to be also in real estate, and I've hired real estate coaches, and I've been in those mentorship programs. And it was entirely not like that. There was not an environment of sharing. Everybody was just hiding secret.
And it's so fascinating to me, because every time I ask that question, I don't think that's going to be the answer. And we've done a number of these interviews. Mm-hmm. It's always the same answer, which is the same answer. The group coaching. And really, again, it's more of, I'll just summarize it as the community experience is so different than what people have experienced before. Because I'm a huge believer, okay, that everyone, Yulia is not your competition. Okay, you are your competition. And the way you think is your competition. And you have to change that in order to get to the next level. And you have to be willing to, there's an old saying, givers get. Okay. The reason I give so much free content away, the reason that we're so just like, hey, we're an open book, because we know that we show you everything we got. You're going to ultimately want to come and experience what else we have to offer as well. And the same thing is true in our group environment. And it's become such a phenomenon that we now have another coach in the program, right? Like we've got, for those who don't know Ine Jackson Atkins, right? Like she gives and she gives and she gave with no expectations of becoming a coach with us, right? While still growing her firm like crazy, right? Like that she just gave. And I was like, can we just structure this? I was like, it just seems like a good idea at this point, and people love it. And again, it's like they still contribute to her, and she takes that and she tweaks it and makes it better, and then they make it better. And so it's just keeps stacking. And I just, again, appreciate you sharing that. But yeah, please, if you want to say anything about Ine, please do.
I mean, I do. I feel like for the first time in my career, I feel like I'm in a room with people who are masters of their craft, because I'm approaching this as my craft, right? Not just a business. I'm loving what I'm doing now, even more than investment finance. What was I thinking, right? But I'm in the room with people who are enjoying their craft as well, and they're happy to share that experience. And you never take those conversations offline, like I've heard in the past. You are having this hash out session with everyone on the line, and all of us are taking notes and going, yeah, I'm totally having the same problem, and this is what I'm going to do. Because no matter what your niche is, no matter what your service is, no matter what your industry is, you are 100% going through the same problem. How do I hire? What's the best platform? What's the best app for this, for that? And how do I get around this pricing issue or this whatever complaint? It's all kind of out there in the open. And that's what I enjoy the most.
Again, I appreciate you sharing that. And for those of you considering joining, we do have a high barrier to entry, right? The reason they're masters of the craft is we're selective, and just like you should be selective in your dream clients. You got to be careful what you say yes to, but we do protect our community, and we'd love to see if you're a great fit for it. So if this is resonating with you, feel free to apply. We'll have links floating around, but I want to jump to the financial aspect, because we talk about dream house, we talk about paying off cars, we talk about all sorts of different things, but we haven't really gotten down to the brass tacks. And as I always say, if you're willing to share, how much have you added to your firm, and in what time frame since you've started working with dream firms? No pressure one way or the other.
Okay, so I don't really want to talk numbers, because I think my numbers are humble, but they're kind of not, considering that I've been in the program for 18 months. But let's just say this, that from July 2020 of me quitting my job to December 31st, 2020, I earned in that span my entire annual corporate salary. That's just in those few months of that year end. And then ever since then, basically in a year, I've taken my annual salary that I enjoyed in corporate and basically 6 times it in a year. So you can, just take any ballpark number for an average, CPA salary in corporate and times 6. That's what I'm enjoying right now, basically a year and a half later.
And if I could just put tiny pieces of context to that, Yulia won our Dream Firm Award. Okay. So we're talking minimum 6 figures billed and collected in less than 365. And to be honest, there's a very good chance she'll be a multiple, right? Stacking awards this calendar year. So like, just for context,
we're stacking awards for sure for this year. And hey, this is what I wanted. This is exactly the life and the outcome that I wanted. I'm willing and ready to work for it, but just, but having the tools to get over that initial hurdle of how is just changed my world incredibly.
Well said. Well said. And speaking of saying things just like, well, you've done such a great job of just articulating your experience and what it's meant to you. But for someone who's on the fence right now, who's looking at this, going, what would you say to them right now?
Girl, do it. like I don't know. I mean, just I would say yes, you need to be doing this now, even if it means where you're just starting with, the initial coaching, and you don't have to be in the master coaching where I'm at now. You need to just give yourself the gift of Dream Firms coaching. It will change your life. um I mean, I would say, look at me, but you don't know me, but trust you me. You can come over here and I will teach you myself. You can see what I'm doing every day. I am proof of the fact that it works. And if you've got the motivation, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be difficult to break your mindset on certain things. You will grow tremendously, and growth always hurts. But you will feel so much better once you've gone through that growth spurt, and you will achieve it. You will be in a much better place financially, mentally, emotionally, once you give yourself the opportunity for that growth. Just do it. Just try it. I mean, if it doesn't work, I can guarantee you that you will walk away from this as a much better person than you did when you started. But I'm going to tell you, you're not going to walk away. You're just not going to walk away.
Thank you so much for saying that. And again, to me, it's look, there's an old saying that I love, which is if it was easy, everyone would do it. And the truth is not everyone joins our program. Not everyone builds a dream firm. But the fact is it is possible. And similar to Upwork, right? You mirror success. You look at what other people are doing and you say, how can my profile look like this? You look at what Yules and Yulia is doing, and you say, what is she doing? Where was she when she was like me, when I had all these problems and I didn't have dream clients and I wasn't projecting 6 figures of new growth for this year and easily going to achieve it? Like what was she doing? And even if you just start with the basics, right? We're talking $67 for Igniter. Literally ignite yourself, start to believe, start to think differently. And if you want to go beyond that, we'd love to ultimately see if you're a good fit for the larger Create Your Dream Firm program, where we really bust out everything in the kitchen sink and some more. But we don't like to leave anything to chance. Okay, so I know we're maybe getting a little redundant here, but I want to ask one question because I think that growth, when you experience it at this level, can be surprising. Some people might think alarming at times, but what has really surprised you the most when it came to growing your accounting firm?
The fact that I could do it, the fact that I had it in me all along, when I believed that I did, because I would always, go, I know I can do it. I can feel it in every fiber of my soul that I'm meant for something. I'm meant to do something more with my life other than clock a paycheck. I know I can build. I know I can create businesses. Like the fact that my clients are succeeding and are increasing their income because on the advice that they've received from me is amazing. Like they call me every day and they go, Yulia, you're single-handedly are the reason why we are where we are. And I go, amazing. Yes, I love it. So that to me is so rewarding and so incredible, that I wouldn't give it up ever. But the fact that I was able to kind of get over these barriers in my head to get to this level is what is really amazing. It's quite incredible how we always kind of think, okay, this is my life now, this is how it's going to be, right? I hate my job. We're all supposed to hate our jobs. We're all supposed to not be satisfied. That's not true. You can do both. And that whole idea of find something that you love doing and you're never going to work a day in your life, that's me right now. I'm working 24/7, and guess what? I'm enjoying it, and I'm not working. I'm having fun. I'm having fun doing this. And I wish that for everyone on this call and beyond.
Couldn't say it better, which is appreciative clients. And again, making a difference in their lives is so rewarding. And the fact that you now have these experiences, and that, again, that leads to, yes, the income, but it's also the appreciation for life. And I'm a big believer that, look, you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And when people go, how do you have the energy, Tyler? How do you do these interviews? How do you get these results? It's like, because I love the people I work with, right? Like, it's like, I love to help them. Like, it's just part of who we are. And that's such a, like, the very first thing. I don't care if you come in, you're bottlenecked, you're strapped for time, you don't even have 10 minutes to listen to a coaching call. The very first thing we're going to make sure that you understand is the appreciation of your time, and specifically how you choose to invest your time with the right or the wrong people, your dream clients or you're not your dream clients, is fundamentally what determines whether you end up like Yules with the experience that she's documented with us, or you don't. It's really just, that is the fundamental breaking point between dream firm and a firm you just kind of happen to have a job you wish you could fire yourself from. It's such a powerful decision, but as soon as you make it, I promise you, things will continue to get better day after day. Awesome. So, well, we're not going to ask how close you are to winning your first Dream Firm award. You already won one. I think next one's probably in the mail if I had to guess. Last question here. And since you've got such a rich appreciation for the group, I think that this is a really sacred question. Mm-hmm. Who would you recommend the program to?
Who would I recommend the program to? The one, I would recommend it to anyone and everyone who is actually serious about changing their life. If you're at a point where, you're like, well, this would be nice, maybe you're just not ready. But if you're at a point where I can no longer continue this life path that I'm on, I must change something. This is it. This is for you. This is that thing that will just turn you 180 degrees onto the path that you want to be on. Any program can potentially work if you put in the work and you've got the motivation, right? But with this particular program, I can guarantee you that it's just so laid out for you. Just do A, B, and C, and D, and whatever, D, and you'll be there. But it's a matter of actually doing it, right? And so if you're going, well, I have stuff going on, I'm not sure, then maybe your motivation is just not there yet. But if you're listening to this call right now and you're going, I cannot wait, you need to be calling right now and figuring out how to get Tyler to tell you what to do. And get you in shape and set you up for the path that you need to be on. But I talk about this program to all of my accountants that I cross paths with. And yes, it's tough and it's not for everyone. But if you feel like you literally can no longer go on with the life that you're leading or in the situation where you're in, this is it. This is your saving grace.
Perfectly stated. And from the standpoint that we do want people who want it more than I want it for you. And I think, again, Yulia she knows how bad I want it for her and for all of our clients, but she wants it more. And if you can imagine, again, how bad I want it, like our success is entirely dependent on our clients. Like I cannot make another sale opportunity. I can't do that for myself until I can say, wait, look over here and see what this individual has to say and how it lines up with your situation. And if it makes sense, wonderful. But you gotta have that fire, and we'll provide the framework. And I'll end this call. And of course, if you have any additional points you'd like to make, Yules, in general, at large, we'd love to hear them. But the only way to make more money in less time is through systems, period, right? Like, we will say this ad nauseum in the program. I say it pretty much every day on any coaching call I have, is we got to have an intense focus on this. But when you join this, right, you're getting pre-vetted, basically done for you systems, whether it's for lead gen, whether it's for your hiring and training protocols, whether it's for your ability to fulfill with ENA and process this. I mean, we literally want to make sure that when you have a problem, right, we're here to help you every step of the way. But only you can create your dream firm, right? That's how I close every single thing.
Yeah.
Like, only Yules can do this.
Yeah.
But you need help on a certain step. I want you to know that we are here to do everything we can to make that step as easy and simple as possible for you. But fantastic. So Yules, I just want to say thank you a million times over. Do you have any parting shots, anything at all that you'd like to say?
I was going to add to that, when we talk about creating our own businesses and starting our businesses, there's this mindset or this idea that I'm supposed to figure out how to do this on my own, right? And that's the number one mistake, where you can't figure this out on your own because you're not this pro in all of these other areas. You don't know what you don't know, and you end up spinning your wheels over and over again, getting frustrated and giving up because you keep hitting a wall and the block that you just have no idea how to get over, because it is you and your ideas and your research, and I'm tired and my time, and I don't have the capacity for this. Why do that to yourself? Why put yourself through so much hell? Allow someone else to come in and show you how it can be done. Here is the system. Here is what to do. Here is what to say. Here is how to handle this objection. Here is how to sell, whatever. Just allow someone else to teach you, and it needs to be Tyler.
I'll say, please have a coach or get involved in something. If it's with us, I think you made the right decision personally. But again, I think it's just, you don't know what you don't know. Right. An old expression, but a valuable one. And one of the things that I find very interesting about the beginning stages of entrepreneurship is that when you first start out, you are literally starting out because you say, I can do it better, right? You're saying, put it on my shoulders. I'm going to be the one. But very quickly after that, if your mindset does not immediately shift to we, whether it's internal team building, whether it's with a third-party perspective as a mentor, something where you're now saying, help me share the load. Because the truth is your value proposition is the same, right? It's like, yes, I want to be on your team. I want to help you, but I'm going to do it all by myself. And it's like, how can you truly appreciate your own value proposition to join someone else's team as that high level accounting, tax, advisory, whatever, if you are not sitting there saying, I'm going to take my own medicine, or as we like to say at Dream Firms, we drink our own champagne, right? It's like, we build our team. We want to be on your team. You need to have other people on your team as well, because winning with a team is the next level of business success. And I couldn't be happier to be a part of Yules' team. So Yules, if someone wants to get in contact with you, potentially ask some additional questions, maybe just take a look at some of the cool things you have going on online, what's maybe a good way for someone to follow up with you or just be able to get a little bit more information?
Sure. I'm always open to any questions. I'd love to share. Just find me on Facebook, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Upwork. I'm happy to chat.
Awesome. And again, any last minute things that you'd like to say before we part ways here?
Just how grateful I am to my friend who recommended the cool cat, Tyler, and brought him into my life. And I'm patting myself on the back for taking that leap and believing in myself and in the program. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being a dream client to a T. Enjoy your dream home, enjoy your dream firm. And for anyone that is listening to this and saying, why not me? Great question. Why not you? There is a link floating around in the chat in the description. If you're catching this on YouTube, do me a favor, just explore it, right? I think you at least owe that to you to just hop on a phone call and say, let me just see what's really going on here. And we'll be able to answer all of your questions. So again, thank you a million times over, Yules. Absolute pleasure. I will see you on next week's group coaching call or potentially between now and then. And for everyone else, remember that only you can create your dream firm, but we, including the wonderful Yulia, are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a wonderful rest of your work week, everyone, and I will talk to you very, very soon.